We're living in weird times where more people than not are overly emotional and reactive in ways that don't actually help them. And it's a strange thing because, on one hand, yeah, we are human. We are emotional. We have emotions. They are a part of our life. But on the other hand, it feels as if our emotions are being weaponized against us. It's as if there's something happening in the external world with the powers that be that want us feeling more emotional than we should be. Because when you have an emotional society, then you have people who are more stressed, people who are more uncertain within their lives. We see headlines meant to scare us and create more division amongst people online and in person. And these things are so powerful that it gets people all riled up in ways that they can't even explain. Because we're living in uncertain times, as it is with wars happening and immigration, and the economy is going up and down, and the prices of things are skyrocketing, and it's getting more difficult to live in modern times. These things are all beyond our control. And yet, we're spoon-fed these ideas, we're spoon-fed these bits of information that are meant to keep us emotional. They're meant to keep us reactive and doing things in ways that don't actually serve us, so that we're in this volatile psychological state, and it creates more stress and more uncertainty and more additional hardship within all of our lives. So, in today's video, I'll be sharing the principles that I've adopted into my own life to help me with this non-reactivity and even the most insane of situations that are happening all around me. All right, so let's begin. Edward Bernays is known as the father of modern propaganda. He was somebody who played a major role in shaping how the world was back in the early 20th century, and even to this day, the things that he pushed forward have still had this massive influence on society itself. Now, this guy, Edward Bernays, he was a genius. He was a con man, of course, but a complete genius, because he understood the ins and outs of the human psychology, and he knew how to apply it at the mass societal level. And Bernays had this famous quote in one of his books. I'll read it out for you here. "The conscious and intelligent manipulation of the organized habits and opinions of the masses is an important element in democratic society. Those who manipulate this unseen mechanism of society constitute an invisible government, which is the true ruling power of our country." He's right. I won't sit here and pretend like I know who's pulling the strings, but I know that the fundamental truth still remains to this day. And these days it's getting even more complex, because back then, 100 years ago, in Edward Bernays' time, there were few media outlets. There was the newspaper, and television didn't come around until like the 1930s, 1940s. There was no internet, there was no social media. So it was mainly just newspaper, mainly just radio broadcasts. And these days we're now constantly bombarded with way more information. The ideas of others, whether they're politicians, celebrities, or just random folks all across the world. When you have minds that are filled with so much information, whether that be good information or bad information, this creates this emotional way of viewing the world, all right? And when you're emotional, this limits your rational thinking. And when you're not thinking rationally, then you're making poor decisions. And when you're making poor decisions, well, this leads to narrow-mindedness, it leads to consumerism, and doing things that make you feel good in the moment rather than thinking medium to long term. Your behaviors, the way you react to things happening in the world, essentially fuel the economy. They help the people who are pulling the strings rather than actually helping yourself and helping the people in your immediate world. Every day there are forces at work that are trying to pull your attention away and give you more information and get you feeling emotional and acting impulsively to that information. Because as I said, an emotional mind is easier to control because you're acting impulsively. You're doing things that are pleasurable and help you feel better in the moment rather than actually benefiting your life in the medium to long term. So in this regard, you need an iron mind. You need to essentially fortify what's happening up here. And it all starts with getting your emotions in check. I'm not saying that you need to be unemotional. I'm not saying that you need to be a robot, but it all starts with developing this level of awareness within your life in terms of how you perceive emotions and when you can feel them. For me, the most impactful principles that have had the largest positive influence over my life in terms of how I perceive emotions and react to things within the world around me has been Stoicism. Now, many people misunderstand Stoicism. They think it's about being unemotional or not caring about things that are happening around them, but it's really not the case at all. It actually encourages you to think and feel deeply, but to have this awareness as to when you can think and feel deeply. It encourages centeredness, this inner sovereignty and control that most people don't have. And the main principle with Stoicism is that you can't control what happens around you. That is not worth worrying about. But you can control how you react to whatever's happening all around you. And that to me is the biggest pillar. That is the most impactful principle within Stoicism. In the Star Wars movies, Yoda says something along the lines of, fear is the path to the dark side. And to you and I, what the dark side is emotional reactivity. It's emotional reactivity that leads to impulsive decision making and destructive behaviors. And now, don't get me wrong, this isn't easy because, as I said, we're humans. Humans have emotions. We are, by nature, emotional creatures. Many of us have been conditioned subconsciously by society itself to react to things, to get mad, to get upset and get so frustrated with whatever's happening, either with a person or an event within your life. But by and large, embracing this non-reactivity principle, this idea that you can't control things happening outside of you, but you can control how you react to them, this is one of the most meaningful, impactful things that you can do. This honestly changes everything. Within my life, I've noticed opportunities that I could not have seen before. In the past, I would have seen how things could have gone wrong, but now I think, okay, well, how can this go right? And also what I've noticed is that I can see other people's agendas when I'm communicating with them. I know what their motives are. I know where they're coming from and what they're trying to get at. And when I was overly emotional, when I was reactive and impulsive, my judgment was completely clouded. I couldn't see these things. And when you can notice the opportunities and notice other people's agendas, you're not bothered by it. You can see things, the crazy things in the news or on social media, or even things happening around you in your physical world, and you're unbothered. You're centered. You're calm. You're composed. And you know deep within your mind that how you react to what's happening around you is totally within your control. Nothing will get you off center. Nothing will get you feeling overly emotional, and nothing will get you acting impulsively. And that inner confidence that you develop helps you act in alignment with what you want. It helps you understand your values and understand what really matters to you. And this to me is what separates you from everybody else, because we're living in these crazy times where people are emotional, people are reactive, and the powers that be want you feeling volatile, but nah, you don't have to be. If you're serious about changing this aspect within your life, if you're serious about not being so overly emotional and not being reactive, then look into Stoicism. Seriously, try to embody some of these principles. And yeah, that's what's on my mind right now. I hope you enjoyed this. Thank you so much for watching, and yeah, I will speak to you in the next video.